Hi, welcome to English 216, special summer online edition. My name is Andrew Hoffman, and I am your instructor this semester. Welcome. English 216 is English Literature 2, a continuation of English 215, English Literature 1. Let me just ease your mind. If you have not had English 215, don't worry, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not a bad thing to have, but it doesn't directly impact anything that we have to talk about. We can talk a little bit about the transition from 215 to 216, but the reality is the authors do, how should I put it, we begin with what is basically a very big break from the past, the French Revolution, and its effect on the English writers of the time. And so that does very strongly separate the Romantics, which is what we call the first group of writers that we have, from all the writers that came before, which you would have read in English 215. Now, as I said, we begin around the time of the French Revolution, the late 18th century. We go all the way to the present. Indeed, there are several writers on the syllabus that are still alive as I'm speaking to you today. No guarantees for tomorrow. But it's a pretty big stretch. It's not as big of a stretch as 215 covers, but it's still a pretty big stretch. And I do want to make very clear what my philosophical approach is. This is a survey class. And what that means is this is an introduction to the period, to the works. It's not in-depth. I'm not going to spend, a third of the semester on a single author or something like that. Right? That's not really appropriate for this kind of a class. We look at the major authors, and indeed, maybe we don't get to every single major author either, right? And we look at principal works written by them, but again, certainly not their full collection, or even all the major works that they created, typically, right? And so a lot of times I hear questions like, well, why aren't we reading so-and-so? And the answer isn't they're bad. The answer is we just don't have time. We can't do everything. The purpose that I see this class doing is to give you an introduction to the time period, the major authors, themes, writing styles, issues that are confronting them, and their attitudes towards those issues. So that maybe in the future, especially if you're an English major, you can do a deeper dive in your upper division classes, wherever that may be. So please don't say, well, why aren't we reading Jane Austen? Well, we're not reading Jane Austen because she writes novels, and perfectly honest, in a summer 8-week session, that's tough. I know that because I've tried to teach it. It is just simply pretty tough. Also, let me just say a few things about preparation for the course. Read the syllabus. First and most importantly, go through the syllabus. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. There are basically two principal ways to contact me. One is my district email, which you have, and the other is to use the Canvas message system, which of course you have. I tend to communicate to the class through announcements. If I need to communicate to an individual from the class, that's when I send you a message, okay, which is a single message. So read the syllabus, get the textbooks. Now, I'm not naive. This is English literature. There are lots and lots of ways to access the literature that we have. A lot of it is in the common domain, public domain. In other words, you can get it for free in places, but what you don't get is you don't get the ancillary materials. That is the editor's notes, the footnotes, things like that. So I have assigned the Norton Anthology of English Literature, 10th edition, volume 2. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's on you, okay? It's on you. So we begin with this, which is the Romantic period. Yeah, there used to be a single book. But then they physically broke the single book into 3 books because they found that people were weak and couldn't hold the book up. So here's the Romantic period. Looks like this, 10th edition. Okay. That's what we begin with. So if you can only get 1 book at the present, get that one. Then there's this one, which is the English anthology Victorian age. Okay, and it has the woman dead in the water, right? That's nice painting there. And then finally, we have the Norton Anthology English Literature, 3rd book, the 20th and 21st centuries, and this takes us up into the present. We will be reading 1 novel. It is in the 3rd book. It is the Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. Don't have to worry about starting that right away because that appears in the second half of the semester. So maybe after about the 3rd or 4th week, after about that time or close to that time, that's when you want to maybe start reading Mrs. Dalloway because it's a wonderful book. I really, really like it, but it may take some time. Okay. Now, as I said, those are the books that I had our bookstore order. So if you say, how do I get those books? The first and easiest answer is to use the Mesa Bookstore. Use their online window. That's clearly the easiest thing to do. There are many, many other online resources, obviously Amazon, but my students are always getting things from other places that I've never even heard of because, well, you're Generation Z or Millennials and I am not. So there we have with that. Okay. By the way, if this video is breaking up, I really apologize. I think this is, I don't know why I'm getting such bad Wi-Fi this morning, but I want to get this up. Couple other things. What kind of work is expected? First of all, there's discussion threads. Discussion threads will be weekly. There will be a question or questions, usually plural questions. You get to choose 1 of those questions and write about it. Something about 350 to 500 words. Now, these are analytical questions. They're going to take some work. Okay, they're a major part of the semester. Okay. There are 2 due dates for every discussion thread. The first due date is always on a Wednesday of the week at 11:59 p.m. And that is the due date for your principal comments, your initial comments, the 350 to 500 word response. Then you write 2 replies. Reply to the comments that you see written by 2 of your peers in the class. Those comments are replies, your kind of interaction with the other students, and they should be about 150 to 250 words each. We do this every week of the semester, Wednesday and Friday. Now, if you're the kind of student who only looks at the Canvas app, you will probably blow it. Okay? Because what's going to happen here is you're going to have something due on Wednesday, but the app is only going to show what happens on Friday. And if you come to me and say, oh, it said the due date was Friday, I'm going to say 0. Okay, because it means you're not listening to me right now. You're not watching the video. You're not reading the instructions. You have not paid attention to what was in the syllabus, and I will have no pity. Okay, just letting you know. The discussion threads are 60% of the course. That's a huge, huge number, okay? So you don't want to miss, and you want to do a good job, okay? Detailed, specific responses, detailed, specific replies to your peers. You can disagree, but don't be disagreeable, okay? Right? Be supportive, even if you say, well, I don't agree with what you said about so-and-so, okay? Don't say you're an idiot or things like that. That's not helpful. Not helpful at all. Okay. There are also going to be 4 essays, 1 for each of the major time sections or periods of the semester. Instructions on that are given at the beginning of every 2 weeks. And so, for instance, on the first Monday of the semester, the first assignment will be available. It is due 2 weeks later. This is true throughout the semester until the final day, when unfortunately we can't give you that final weekend. It has to be turned in on Friday, the end of the last day of the semester. Okay. So those are the major things I wish you to understand and know. The class is divided into modules, right? The Canvas modules, and I think that is the best way to approach going about it. So for instance, the first module will be open for the romantics, right? The romanticism period. Read the handout, watch my videos, right? There are videos for the different authors. You need to read the works on your own. When you do that is up to you. But as I said, there are due dates for the discussion threads. There are due dates for the essays that are assigned. Okay. So the best thing that you can do is plan your time accordingly so that you get things done on time. Because late work is not accepted without some sort of legitimate medical excuse. Things like I was busy, I had a work conflict, I had a family conflict. Things of that nature tend not to work unless family conflict means your house burned down or something like that, which I hope does not happen. Medical excuse, legal excuses, you got arrested. Hopefully, again, that doesn't happen. We'll take care of that. But in large scale, no. This should be a fun semester. I really want everybody to learn a lot, to enjoy the literature, to enjoy the interactions on the discussion threads, to really dig deeply into your own analytical skills when writing the essays, and to be exposed to what I think is a very wonderful world of English literature. Take care.